I thought it was about time to give an update on how my design for operating sessions is going on my HO scale Ontario Northland layout. Well, ever since I had my previous layout, Okanagan Valley Railway, and even layout before that, really on that one, the one I had in Milton, I really focused on operations. I came up with a car card system and that, and it was somewhat more complicated than what I've got or what I want at Ontario Northland in HO scale. So I scaled it down and I came up with some other options. So basically added in the Ops Buddy, I believe it's called, which I'll leave the link to that, and I'll see if I can find the link to the video of the guy who actually originally did it. Plus, I'll leave a link to my original Ops video I did on this layout. And I'll even leave a link to the last ops session I did on the Okanagan Valley Railway with a crew of, I think we had about 10 guys. So far I haven't had people over to this layout, but that's something I plan on doing in the future. So let's get going. One thing I had on the old layout was I had train order sheets. I decided to go without that, but now I needed something else so the person knew what engine they're getting. So I've come up with an engine card. It's very simple. It's just a photograph of the engine. As you can see, RS3 1310 here is an example. And so when the engineer is assigned a train, they would be given the cards with all the railway cars on it, but they'll also be given the engine of which they're going to be pulling the train with. Well, just a quick review, because the car cards and the waybills are basically similar to what I had before. The only difference is the fact now what I do is the car cards are added to the waybill after. It used to be static on the old layout, but now I like to change up the cars, put some cars off in a staging or into storage, and bring some new cars in just for variety. So you really don't know what cars you're going to add to the train until I actually come up with what the roster of rail cars is going to be. So quickly here, in this case, it's a 3-part waybill. And so it starts off as Waybill 1. Now it's a little out of order here because it's currently on Waybill 2 on the layout. So it should actually go 2, 3, and then 1 would be the next when it goes over again. But anyway, so in Waybill 1, you can see that train 211 would take the train to Englehart. And origin, you can see down the bottom, is North Bay. And the eventual destination, and then you can see there's train number 2. The M. Alice, which is nicknamed Midnight Alice, would take the train from Englehart to New Liskeard and deliver it to destination, which is the New Liskeard team track. So then you can see on Waybill 2 that same car is going to be picked up and from the team track and brought back to Englehart. And then finally, it would return on train 212 back to North Bay again from Englehart. And 212 being the opposite, the southbound version of 211. Next up is a standard waybill 2-parter, which is for any cars that are going basically from North Bay and then into a staging yard, which is basically any points north of Englehart. So in this case, so this is a covered hopper, and it is, so you can see that the waybill requires either a boxcar covered hopper to go to the CN interchange track in Cochrane. So initially the train was 223 left from North Bay to the staging yard just past the Englehart yard. And basically the next operating session, this covered hopper will come back on train 224. And they'll go back just basically from the staging, CN interchange, back to North Bay. Once those cars return back to North Bay, the car cards are actually removed from the waybill and put into a stack of what I consider to be newly arrived cars. And then I have a stack of cars that have been sitting longer, and those will be my preferred cars for adding on the next operating session. That way I'm cycling through my rail car inventory. It makes it more fun and interesting. So the next couple of pics here, I just wanted to show what these things look like. So here's a quick shot of the engine card and the 2 different car cards that I showed earlier. In each case, you see a photograph, one of the engine, and in each case, one of the rail car. Now, if you flip it over on the other side of the pack, and I use the little hockey card protective sheets, I just cut them up, and they work really good for little pockets, by the way. So on the back of the engine card. As you can see, it's blank because there's really no point of having anything on there. I mean, technically, you could put some DCC information or something like that for novice engineers, but I've left it blank, at least for now. Something to think about. And on the back, you can see that both cars are currently in Waybill too. So, and like I said earlier, once those cars go back to North Bay, the Waybills are removed from the car card, or I should say the car cards are removed from the Waybill, and the session starts over with different cars. So what have I learned from testing out my new op session? Well, a number of things. I'll start with the photo you see here is that my Ontario Northland yard is at capacity, which is okay. It was kind of designed to hold that many cars. But in the background, both the C8 and CP interchange yards are getting full as well as I add more cars, which has prompted me to the fact I am definitely going to add some sort of storage boxes underneath the layout where I can store extra cars in that so that I don't get a little bit too full there. It's fun. It's a switching puzzle, but at the same time, it has to be manageable. So some other things that I've learned. For one thing, I realized I have to purchase some more rail cars. I'm definitely short on gondolas. I do have some US Railroad ones from my old layout, but I really don't want to be using them anymore. Basically, Northern Ontario, you're going to have either Ontario Northland, Canadian Pacific, or Canadian National, possibly some other Canadian GONs, but those are the most common ones you're going to see up there. The other thing I realized is I made a mistake. The one train I've got northbound, southbound that I showed you at the beginning of the video, train 211 and 212, I originally marked it as train 105 and 106. Well, 211 and 212 are the correct train numbers that really ran. 105 and 106 is actually the order train numbers, which I also have on my layout. So I have since fixed that up. I mentioned the crowded yard. Also, the other thing is the fact that I noticed that I haven't got enough waybills. So for instance, Hall & Orr, which is a lumber dealer in Timmins, they seem to be getting more bulkhead flats than I anticipated, so I've had to print off more cards. So it's a learn as you go along process, and it's a lot of fun. And I highly encourage, if you're into operating sessions, to give this a try or come up with your own system. There's all kinds of different ways to come up with solutions in model railroading. Everybody does something different, or you can follow somebody's lead and modify it. Take care. If you enjoyed watching this video, please click like, and if you want to see more videos on model trains and real trains, please subscribe now.